since last week. Do you want to lead off, Samuel? What do you think the biggest news is this week for console gamers, at least?
Well, I mean, it depends if you're an Xbox fan or if you're a Nintendo fan. I mean, we got news from both sides. We should go with the Nintendo one first because I think the Halo one is going to take a lot longer to discuss.
Okay, yeah.
So what we have basically are, I guess, rumors that have been confirmed by Bloomberg of a new Switch going into production on this fall.
Okay.
That supposedly is going to be released on 2021, and Nintendo apparently is looking into 4K, into actually having this Switch deliver 4K.
Yes, how is that? I mean, the current Switch does not even hit 1080p. I mean, they're just going to jump straight to 4K,
huh? I assume that if this is true, it's going to be, well, it's docked into the docking station. Obviously,
yeah.
I think the next Switch, I think it's overdue, is going to be 1080p portable. Because, I mean, every cell phone these days, like even the cheap cell phones have 1080p screens. These days. So I assume that's gonna be a given, but 4K looks kind of iffy in my opinion. But I'm not surprised either because that's one of the questions that everyone has. Like, what's going to happen now that the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 are going to be out? Is the Switch going to be able to keep up? Because I know that a lot of people just bought the Switch because they want to play, I guess, Fortnite and Mario and Zelda. But a lot of people, like myself, we bought the Switch because we wanted the big home console experience portable. So at some point, the technology just keeps going up, and even Red Dead Redemption and Metro Exodus, those games cannot be played on the Switch right now. They cannot be ported over. So, the Switch did good. I mean, it has The Witcher 3. I mean, it looks very, very low end in comparison to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, but it works. So this was going to happen, I guess, sooner than later. The question will be the price. Like, I don't know how pricey this thing is going to be next year, because right now the Switch is $300. Is that right? I mean, it's $300 and $200 for the light version. Yeah. So I don't know what's your take on this.
I mean, if they can actually solve some of these issues, and most importantly, if they can solve the Joy-Con drift issue in these new models, I might actually buy one myself.
Yes,
I think it would only be good news for Switch players.
It would be very bad if we still have the same Joy-Con issues on the new version. And I do expect. I was expecting this. Like, it's been 4 years now. It's gonna be 4 years on March. So I was expecting some sort of upgrade, even if it was a Pro version. That's the question right now. If this is a mid-generation update of the Switch, like a Switch Pro, or if it's a full-blown jump.
Yeah,
we don't know that yet. But and if you think about it, 4K is not that difficult for Nintendo games. Like, it's not that hard to make Zelda Breath of the Wild run at 4K, as opposed to The Witcher 3. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, the Outer Worlds running on this Switch in 4K.
I assume some of these games, like even The Witcher 3, that are scalable. If you get a better Switch, you're gonna get better, better draw distances, better resolution, maybe even better assets. With an update, I don't know. I suppose. I mean, what's the point in getting a new system if you're not gonna get improvements? Because I don't think that the current base, which is 63 million last time I checked, I don't think they're going to be very happy if suddenly games stop for them. You know what I'm saying? And they have to upgrade. So I think we're still going to get Switch games. Maybe they're just going to look better on the next version, and we're going to get some new games too. But I think the new Zelda that was announced like a year ago, I think that should be also a Switch game, and maybe it's going to look 4K on the new one, or 1080p on the new one when portable, and that will be the selling point. Yeah. But it was to be expected. I don't think people shouldn't be angry about this, even if they just bought a Switch Lite or something. I think the Switch Lite's going to stay around. I think that maybe the original Switch might be phased phased out eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone should be angry. This was to be expected. It's been 4 years almost. I mean, by March 2021, it's going to be 4 years. So that's like a console cycle, basically.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess I mean, I'm looking forward to see. It is interesting. I'm looking forward to see how they put all this technology together, because mobile technology has come far in the last 4 years. So
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
the pricing point too. I mean, that's
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it'll be interesting, especially if they can get the Joy-Cons fixed, and we might finally have Mario 64 in 4K, only
that's actually
$59.99.
yes. That's one of the things that Nintendo hasn't gotten right. Like they have that subscription service that you pay $5 a month. It's only $5, but you only get a few Nintendo games and a few Super Nintendo games that you can stream and you can download and play. It's like Game Pass almost, but you
Yeah,
only get original Nintendo games and Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, and only a select few.
I see.
I don't understand how a company that large and that rich, by now you would have thought that they would have had Nintendo 64 games, GameCube games that you can play on the service.
Yeah,
They're they they're far behind Microsoft and even Sony in that regard, and it still boggles the mind. Like I haven't paid
yeah,
for that service because I don't find it attractive at all. Like I don't why would I pay $5 for that? I have a 3DS that is kind of I guess how you call that, bricked, or not bricked. I
in
have a bunch.
reserve.
I have a bunch of I have a 3DS system that has a bunch of games like Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games in it, downloaded for it. So I don't feel like I need to pay $5 for that service. So Nintendo needs to really grab me on that before I even think about upgrading to a new Switch. Because
Yeah,
I've been disappointed in that. Now that you mentioned Mario 64, because that's one of those games that I'm still waiting for. Even if
indeed.
it's just N64 version, just
Yeah,
I don't know. But that's Nintendo. That's what they do.
yeah, yeah. So, I guess the other news then is 343 Studios says that they're still keeping the Halo Infinite on Xbox One. It's not going to be only Xbox Series X, and they're saying 2021 sometime. And they brought in a guy from who helped write some of the best Halos we ever got. In fact,
Yes.
people have only been complaining about the story for the Halos he didn't write, which is 4 and 5. So this might be a good. This might be the steady hand we need. Yeah.
At this point, Halo Infinite has bigger problems than just storytelling. But that was the complaint by many people of Halo 4 and 5. 'Cause nobody really complained about the multiplayer. I think you're witness that the multiplayer was quite good. Like 343 did get the multiplayer component of the game right. But
Yeah.
everybody has been complaining about the campaigns, and I just played Halo 5 recently, and I do feel the campaign was lacking, both in story and in just gameplay wise to the Bungie games. But the big issue now is what started all of this. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday that I wrote the article that I reported that the rumor was that 343 was actually canning the Xbox One version. That's what started this.
Yeah.
And it spread like a wildfire. Like it was everywhere. Like everybody was angry. Like, oh, Microsoft, you liars, you bastards. But
Yeah. Yeah, I was
it,
I was standing there with my pitchfork as well, waiting for Phil outside Nintendo or the Microsoft.
because the rumor came from a guy on one of the message boards, one of the Microsoft message boards, and he
Yeah.
already had delivered some rumors before that came out to be true. So maybe he works for Microsoft or for somebody close to Microsoft, and he knows things. So he said, and it makes sense. He said that 343 couldn't get Xbox Infinite running on the base Xbox One. They couldn't get it running at all. So they had to use, and they actually were struggling to get it running at all even even on the new system. So they had to use the CPU to do a lot of the processes. And obviously, as we know, the Jaguar CPUs of the Xbox One consoles are garbage at this point. And apparently, this is keeping Halo Infinite from running on the Xbox One. So they were thinking about just scanning that and just making it an exclusive Xbox Series X game, and therefore delaying the thing until 2022. The rumor kind of was around for almost 24 hours, maybe a little, maybe a day, and then a 343 employee came out and said, no, we're not doing that. That's a lie. It is going to be a 2021 release, and it is going to be for both systems. And then the very next day, the news come out that Microsoft hired or pulled, because he's a Microsoft employee. He used to work for Bungie. But after Bungie left, he left Bungie, and then he came to Microsoft, and he's been overseeing some projects for Microsoft.
Yeah, Joseph Staten.
Staten, yes. So they pulled him out from whatever he was doing, and they said, no, you have to save this thing. And now he was put into the lead campaign guy. He's the guy who's leading the first, the single player campaign right now, and he is there to make sure that it's finished, that it gets done, and that it is up to the quality that people expect at this point from a Halo. So personally, I think Microsoft did the right thing. I don't know how you feel about that. I think they did the right thing.
Yeah, I don't think they could have done anything better, to be honest. I mean, this was really the ace up their sleeve they pulled out. Me as a giant Halo fan, I feel a little bit more at ease now. I feel like things are gonna be okay. We just had to believe. I mean, that's what the Halo 3 campaign told us. Believe, and Chief will be here hopefully along with a vaccine for the pandemic as well. He'll save us.
And the Craig needs to
the
Craig the Brute. I always told you. I always felt I don't know why Microsoft doesn't make an effort to get some of these Bungie people back on the fold, get them back on the fold, pay them money, do something. But finally, I guess it's what I find funny is that it seems to be, even though the 343 employee said that it was false, it seems to be sort of like a half confirmation that it is true, that it was true, that they were having troubles. So Microsoft had to go through all of this to get this guy so he could lead them. Like, he wasn't even there to work with. He's the lead now. He's the guy that is going to keep them. So I don't know what's going on there. If 343 wasn't a first party studio, you have to wonder if they would have been fired by now. Fired, like the company is. Or or if they weren't so far into the game, because this thing has been on development for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, I wonder what's going to happen to Halo after this. Depending on how this comes out.
Yeah, Halo, or they were saying it's going to be a 10-year Halo game or something crazy. Like, I don't know about this. We'll see.
What I question is 343. Are they gonna be still be in charge of Halo, or is Microsoft having second thoughts about this, or are they gonna just rebuild 343 from the ground up and get new people? I don't know. They dropped the ball here massively.
Yeah, Microsoft definitely needs to do something about it. And it looks like they did. So I feel like there's hope. I mean, we're still not getting what we were promised, which is it out with the release this fall or for Christmas with the Xbox Series X. But this is possibly the next best thing. So I'm at least happy with that.
It shows that they care. It shows that they are trying. And that, the rumors are too. That's what the guy said. The guy who broke out the other rumors, that Microsoft wants this to be the greatest Halo game ever. Like, they're serious about this. Like, they understand the importance of this game at this point, where they've been accused of not having the best exclusives and whatever. They really want this game to be the best Halo ever. Like, I assume that anything under 90 Metacritic, they're gonna think it failed if it gets anything under that. That reminds me. Remember Bethesda? Part of the reason why Obsidian didn't get paid a lot of money was because Bethesda had some sort of incentives that if their games got like over 90 Metacritics, or 90, I think it was Metacritic. The developers got bonuses. And New Vegas got just under that, under 90. I don't know if it was like an 88 or an 86 Metacritic.
Oh, that's...
And they didn't get the bonuses. Like the employees didn't, even though the game is so beloved. Like I read an article a few years ago about that, about one of the Obsidian employees complaining about that. Like, what else could they have done? That was a great game. It's just, I don't know why it got such a low. It deserved the 90.
Was Todd Howard behind this?
It was someone from It was Bethesda who had those incentives set in place.
Yeah,
but the game was good. Like
that was New Vegas was arguably the best Fallout game.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's a lot of people that share that opinion, even on our page, that game was the best Fallout game. But the incentives were that it had to get over a 90 Metacritic or something like that, or over an 85. I don't know. It was one of those numbers, and they missed it by just a few points, and and they didn't get the incentives. So I wonder
hopefully there's not something going on similar with Microsoft.
But you know what? I wouldn't mind them putting 343 on the spot here, because they had two chances already with Halo 4 and Halo 5, and they have sort of missed the mark. And then the bad thing is that you get Nintendo, and they make Zelda, the new Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and then they make Mario Odyssey, and they get like it's ridiculous, like 97 out of.
Well, 100. I mean, they're a treasure. They have to be protected and preserved. I mean, this is what Microsoft's own head of Xbox is saying. So, I mean,
well, the Phil Spencer knows. Like he's like, but it's not even that. Like even God of War and The Last of Us, they're getting like 94s or 95s, and even Phil Spencer's coming out and going like, oh, God of War is so great. Oh, whatever, So I think there has to be.
How come we don't see him talking about playing some of his own Microsoft games? This is getting a little annoying.
I think he's been candid about Gears of War 5 and Forza, but this is why maybe there's some pressure on Halo Infinite, on 343, because Halo used to be that game. It used to be the game that got 92, 94, 95 Metacritic. That used to be Halo. That was it. That was the. And
it used to be the premier first-person shooter.
Yes, and we want Halo to be back there. Like we wanted there. We want the Chief to go back and reclaim his glorious spot, and just. I don't know. Hit Mario with the rifle on top of his head or something.
I mean, well, look what happened to Sonic. Hopefully, Master Chief does not go the way of Sonic.
Sonic has to.
I mean, the movie was pretty good, I thought. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, the movie was good. One of our bigger followers, Usman, he loves Sonic, and he actually recommended the movie, and the movie was good. It was better than I thought. I went into it with low expectations, and I actually laughed quite a bit.
I saw it a while ago, and I really, really liked it. I got it from Redbox. But talking about first-person shooters, that brings us into some of our next news, which is Gamescom, which is a pretty big industry event show for the video game industry. They had their opening night last night, and one of the games revealed was Bethesda's Doom Eternal, their first DLC, The Elder Gods, I keep saying that, The Ancient Gods Part 1, and that's going to be released October 20th this year. And
you're a big Mortal Kombat fan.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like writing an article about it, and I just kept writing Elder Gods, even though I meant Ancient Gods. But maybe that's why they couldn't call it the Elder Gods, because of some Mortal Kombat trademarks or something. But I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to get some new enemy types, hopefully some new weapons, new locations. We're going to learn more about the Doom Slayer, and should be a really fun time, especially because so far I have Doom Eternal as Game of the Year personally, and this is going to be adding on to the campaign. So I'm pretty stoked.
It is ironic that the Doom series has actually been, I guess you could say, improving,
Yeah.
In this generation, like it has two Doom, the reboot in 2016, and then this one, and they both. I'm pretty sure both broke over the 90 Metacritic.
No, I think they're both 88 or something like that. Yeah, mid 80s. I don't know. I mean, I think they're too good. I mean, they're too hard for the average video game reviewer. I was watching some streams of the people who got the game early, trying to play, and they just kept dying over and over and over on some of the easy parts. It definitely requires a lot of first-person shooter gaming experience, because you actually have to strafe back and forth like in an old school shooter. But I'm really looking forward to it. And I think the game that was revealed last night that you're really looking forward to is probably the Ratchet and Clank, the new one.
It looked really good. There's the big controversy about the frames per second. They're saying that it was running at 30 frames per second, and that if you want to run at
in 4K though.
Yes, if you want to run at 60 frames, then you have to go down to 1080p. And I was watching the feed live, so that live the resolution doesn't really show, and because sometimes the screen was even breaking up at times because of the internet. But what I saw was pretty impressive in terms of the SSD that they've been touting about. Like I don't know if you got to see how.
Yeah, I actually watched it again today. I watched some of it yesterday, and then I watched it again today. And no, it looks really, really sharp. And the SSD, I guess they're actually using it where you can travel through the level, and it loads everything instantly. Supposedly, there's no load times at all anywhere in the entire game, which I thought was Sony's following through on their promise with that. We'll see if it's more than just this game, though.
Yeah, that was the promise. And the mechanic where he goes through the portal, and everything loads up instantly. That was pretty impressive. And the screen space reflections and the game looked really good. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 4 couldn't really do that. I wasn't mind blown. I don't know if you were by the graphics. Like I wasn't really mind blown, but it does look like like something that the PlayStation 4 or the Pro couldn't really do right now. So it does look like a leap of sorts. It is funny though that yes, I understand that people are pissed because the Xbox One X has some games that play at 4K and 30 frames per second, and some of them play at 60. I think Gears of War 4 is one of them. Gears of War 4. You could play Gears of War 4 at 4K, 30 frames per second, and then if you want to play 60 frames per second, you can go to 1080p mode. But obviously, Ratchet and Clank has a lot of stuff going on the screen. Like I saw a lot of action and all this other stuff. Maybe it's a lot more taxing on the hardware, and maybe that's why they couldn't really. And think about it. It is supposedly a launch window game, whatever that means. Maybe it is a game that's going to come out within the first few months of a PlayStation 5 being around. Maybe at launch, I don't know. But it seems like they made a game pretty fast. Like the development for the game was came around pretty fast. So maybe they haven't optimized that they can have it at 4K and 60 frames per second. And at the end of the day, the PlayStation 5 doesn't have the GPU that the Series X has. So that will be interesting to see if the Series X can actually do some games that look like that at 60 frames per second at 4K. Yeah, because that would be the big marketing thing that Microsoft is going to use against Sony. Like, oh, we have this at 4K and 60 frames per second, and you guys can do 4K, but at 30 frames per second. But it is an early game, so I assume they're going to get better at optimizing that stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. And we do have a little bit of Spencer news. Phil Spencer.
Oh, again?
Yeah. Apparently, he just can't keep his mouth shut. He was talking. So this week, there's that Epic Games versus Apple thing over their V-Bucks currency. Phil Spencer's put his support behind Epic Games against Apple.
I think, yes. It is funny because if you read the news from like a few months ago, Sony actually bought some chairs at Epic Games, and they have some sort of partnership, which might have led to the Unreal 5 tech demo being showcased on the PS5 and not on the Series X
Yeah.
or whatever. But I think Phil Spencer is just taking and Microsoft is just taking the approach that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and also a lot of their games are actually running on and a lot of the future games are running on Unreal technology. So
Yeah.
and they're being made on Mac computers, and
Yeah.
if this goes through, you won't be able to get the upgrades and the tool sets and everything on Mac devices and iOS devices. And I guess
Yeah.
that would really hamper a lot of the developers. And even Baby Yoda, I read, even Baby Yoda.
Oh, they use the Unreal engine to animate Baby Yoda.
Yes, Disney's using the Unreal engine to. I think I read it was to capture render some of the scenes out before they do all the post processing, so the actors and the crew can see how it's gonna look, sort of, before they actually work. And apparently, all of this is running on Mac computers, so it's going to be a blow to like everybody. This is multi-billion-dollar kind of thing if Apple gets away with this. What's your take?
Oh, this is a hard one. On the one hand, I mean, Apple has built this app ecosystem and everything. They control it. On the other hand, 30% is pretty steep for essentially something that's automated, especially for in-game currency. Yeah, I don't know. They're also suing Google. Google charges the same 30%, and I don't know. Perhaps Apple and Google just have too much control over our smartphones. Maybe that's the thing. Of course, Microsoft hasn't exactly done very well in the whole smartphone space either. I mean, for a while, we even had a rumored Nintendo phone and a Sony phone. I mean, all these companies have tried to break in on that, but
I think Sony did get a phone, out, and it burned.
Yeah.
Like Sony, they tried, but it didn't work for them.
Yeah, maybe if they took something more like 5% for the in-game transactions, I could see that as being fair. Yeah, for at least for the virtual currency, I could see that being fair, but 30% is pretty steep. Yeah, I don't know. It's if the Unreal Engine gets pulled off of Mac and iOS, that would be a really big blow to Apple, though. A lot of 3D games on the systems do use the Unreal Engine, so I don't see how it would be good for anyone for them not to be able to resolve this.
Come to a compromise or something. Maybe lower this thing to like 15% or something. Do you know what they're asking for? Apple and Epic and you know what Epic is asking for? The percentage.
I'm not sure if it's a percentage. They just want to be able to have a link in the game where you click on it and then you go and buy the V-Bucks outside of the game itself. You just buy it with your credit card through the web browser.
So basically, yeah. So that's worse. So basically, they want 100%, sort of.
Yeah. They want 100%. So hopefully they come to some kind of middle ground. But that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. Maybe they'll, yeah.
Will impact everybody. Like even developers, if they only use Macintosh, they're gonna have to buy a whole set of computers. That's like millions of dollars of for a big developer.
If they can't switch them over to Windows somehow.
Yes.
Well, I think that's pretty much all the news for this week. We do have a special segment we're going to be trying to do every week now. So let's have a little drum roll. And it's the meme of the week. The fans have spoken, and it is the meme of the week. We're putting it up here on the screen now so you can see. What do you think about the meme, Samuel? The meme of the week. The golden eye. Is this meme racist? Is it?
That is a very weird. That is a weird. I mean,
I almost wonder if it's photoshopped. To be honest,
is that a Russian? Those two like Russian dudes. So every single bad guy in James Bond looked like a Russian. Dude from
Eastern European. I mean, the Soviet Union used to be very large, so everyone in Eastern Europe kind of was part of it.
There was a Soviet kind of a Cold War kind of thing, I guess, going on in those games
Yeah.
in that game with the James Bond going into the
Yeah,
Soviet Union.
maybe the GoldenEye team just got it right. Maybe their graphics were actually better at the time than anyone realized.
I actually wondered if the photo was Photoshop at first because I mean
It could be photoshopped. Um,
it fits the description because the one guy doesn't have ears, like the one guy with the round face. He doesn't have ears, and ears were kind of impossible to render back in the 64 days.
yeah,
And then
unnecessary polygons.
the other guy has his eyes like too far apart, and in those days they used to map the face to the character.
Maybe these were the because that was like they had a really big thing in the news about. They even had something on like the regular day, like evening news about how this is the first game where they were doing scanning people's faces for texture mapping. Like they scanned, Pierce Brosnan's face for the game.
Yeah,
So maybe
they used to map. They used to take a picture and then just create a map and just put it on the actual model, and that's why you get the eyes kind of far apart look and everything like a little stretched.
yeah.
And
That was the first game where they did the scanning like this, supposedly, and at least that's what the news said back when the game came out. I remember.
There was a controversy about that too. Because Perfect Dark, I don't know if you remember, Perfect Dark was supposed to use the Game Boy camera. And you were supposed to be able to take a picture of yourself, and then you could play as yourself on multiplayer, and your friends.
Oh, I see.
You could shoot your friends, and then those two little pricks went into the Columbine High School and shot everybody up, and the government and the parents and everybody started to complain about it, about the people putting their faces on the characters and getting shot at. At the time, I guess it was a sensitive topic.
Yeah. I mean, I would still say it is still a sensitive topic. It's interesting that you brought that up because supposedly those two guys, they also created custom Doom levels in the first Doom game as a map of their high school, but that was later found out to be not true, though.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. He was the one politician. His name was Joe Lieberman, I think it was. But he used to be like used to go after every single. Like he went after Mortal Kombat. He went after, and then when this happened, and they found out that the guys used to play Doom, they were like, "Oh no! If you play first-person shooters, you're gonna end up being a mass murderer, or." And what the heck? It was two teenage guys who played games. Like that would be the description of like 80% of every teenage kid in America, I guess. And,
yeah.
But politicians made a big deal about it, and the whole face mapping thing was canned, and you can never you're not able.
Yeah, I mean that would be an easy feature now to add, really, and you still really can't do it.
I think there's a stigma for that still.
Yeah,
but I mean there are worse things now. I don't know. I mean games now are more real than they were. Like shooting somebody today on I guess Doom or Metro or any shooter today is more realistic than shooting somebody in the 90s with a face mapping.
Yeah, and they just had a little laser thing come out or something. There wasn't really gore or anything like that. Yeah, that's definitely true. Well, I think that's pretty much.
The meme was popular. You got how many likes?
Over 100. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very popular. They did look the part. I mean, those dudes look the part.
Yeah, so make sure you check out the Never Ending Realm Facebook page, facebook.com/neverendingrealm, to find the memes we post each week, and like all of them. No, like everything. No, but make sure to like and follow. That way you'll have some input on what we choose as the meme of the week next week. And feel free to post your favorite memes to our group page as well. Our Facebook community group. So make sure you check out neverendingrealm.com, our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And did you have anything else, any closing thoughts, Samuel? What are you looking forward to for next week?
Well, I'm looking forward to our next Let's Play. I think we might have a GoldenEye Let's Play, and Star Fox 64 finally. If we can get around to it, I think we might be able to get it by next week.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. Hopefully, I can get all the way to Andros on the first try.
And then this week we had the Legend of Dragoon as a throwback Thursday, and
yeah, that's been pretty popular.
Yeah, it's been pretty spread out. Some people didn't like the game. Some people claim that it is the greatest game ever. Even we have one guy today saying that it was better than all Final Fantasies put together. So
yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I decided not to even touch that comment.
But it is what I touched on the article, that it's become sort of a cult classic, even though it wasn't really that good of a game in the year 2000. Like it was just, it was high values and it wasn't really that good. But a lot of people love it. It's not the first time I've seen this happen. Like there's people that would die for this game, like would go to battle to defend the honor of this game. So, I mean, it is. But I respect that, and we actually said, in Facebook, like, give us your experience of it. So I'm not shocked, because I seen like a cult following rise from the ashes in the last 20 years, which is weird, but I seen it, and
yeah.
I guess we might have to play this game eventually in a Let's Play game to for ourselves.
Yeah, I've never played it or seen it before, so I'm pretty interested. I mean, people seem to really like it. I mean, you kind of hyped it up a little. It's supposed to be Sony's own Final Fantasy VII killer.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, it had like a $16 million budget without marketing back in 2000. So that's big. That's almost as big as Final Fantasy VII's budget. So. Yeah, and it looks really good in terms of the videos and the CGI and everything. But it's just the story was, I thought it was bad, and it was just like a copy. It was trying to be too much like every Final Fantasy game, and just didn't. At least that's my opinion. It didn't separate itself from everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to do.
I didn't like the world map. You couldn't really roam the world map. It was fixed. You had to go from one point to the next point, and the disc swapping. Like if you wanted to revisit a town, sometimes you have to stop the game and pull disc 4 out to put disc 2 back in.
Oh God!
Yes, I don't even think even the early Final Fantasy games had that problem. So I never understood that. But
yeah,
there's some issues, and but people liked it. So. We might have to play it to judge.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, make sure you guys like and follow on all our channels, neverendingrealm.com. And have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, dudes.